Morning everybody, how are we all doing? I am outside this morning for this live because the sun is just about creeping back through, so I am hoping we don't get stray cats jumping on us, guinea pigs squeaking at us, you know, postman knocking, whatever, but we'll give it a go and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so I will freely admit that I am fairly nervous about today's live because I am going to be completely vulnerable and share my story and why I'm a hypnotherapist now, why I love my job, I completely love my job, why I'm so passionate about it being such a powerful therapy for people, and you know, to illustrate really how it can make such powerful transformations for people, because it absolutely has for my life. It's completely turned it around. So I am going to dig deep. I'm going to go personal. I am going to be talking about trauma. There may be tears, I don't know. We'll just see what happens. But equally, I really want to embrace this vulnerability, because I want it, you know, if other women are struggling in the place that I was in, you know, 14 years ago, then I want to reach out and help you guys basically, and you know, also to help people understand that actually vulnerability is a massive strength. You know, it's not, we often think that we shouldn't get emotional, we shouldn't cry, we shouldn't show vulnerability because it's some form of weakness. I certainly went to all those places, but it's absolutely not. You know, this is if you're going to dig deep and go into that therapy journey, you are going to be making the most massive changes in your life, and you are so brave and so courageous for doing that. Okay, so I'm doing these lives on a Saturday morning, regularly on a Saturday morning, because I want to help high achieving women who were in my position 14 years ago. So I should just introduce myself. Sorry, I'm Anna Rushmer. I'm a hypnotherapist and wellbeing coach. So I want to help high achieving women who are now in the position I was in 14 years ago. So it's that sort of frustrated, stuck, feeling like you're in survival mode, maybe feeling like you're kind of just existing, you're perhaps exhausted. You know that those big dreams are out there, you have big dreams, and you know that you're absolutely meant for more, but for some reason you either feel stuck, you feel like you're going around in circles, you feel exhausted, you've tried things and they haven't worked. You know, you're potentially at that point of burnout. That's where I got to. And it's almost that, you know, you're so determined to get there because you know the life that you want and you deserve is out there, but equally you're kind of coming up against closed doors. You know, there's something holding you back and you don't know what that is. Okay. So my program that I've created, it's an online program, so it's not location specific. You don't need to see a hypnotherapist face to face to have effective hypnotherapy. It's amazing online. You know, in some ways it's even better because you're in the comfort of your own home, your office, whatever's the right, you know, the right place for you. So it's not location specific. It's a 4 months online program with complete guidance and support every step of the way from me. Okay, it's not a there you go, there's your program, kind of crack on with it. It's really important to me that you have that guidance and support from me all the way through. Okay, so it's a 4 months program. It's called Surviving to Thriving, and you can join on various different levels. What I'll do is I will stray cat coming across. I will put a link to the website which gives a bit more detail, and then obviously put a link to where you can book a discovery call with me if you want to talk about any of the stuff that comes up for you as we go through this. Okay, so Surviving to Thriving, I think we've done that one. So I want to talk to you today about my story, as I said, to illustrate you know, how amazingly powerful hypnotherapy can be. And yes, it, you know, can sound a bit of a scary concept maybe to some people, but it's just actually just quite a wonderful process. And you know, the benefits are that it's completely transformed my life. So I was looking for, you know, a happy, harmonious, fulfilled, that inner peace. I was looking for that in my life, and I kind of knew that it was out there, but I didn't know how to get to it. Okay, so this is my story. This is why I do the job I do now, because of my own therapy journey. This is why I've put the program together, because I want people to benefit from the journey that took me a long time, because I didn't know, you know, what I needed and where to go. So I want people to benefit from that, and you know, I want to just sort of express as to why I love my job, why I love doing my job so much, and why I'm so passionate about it. So let's travel back first to 2006. Okay, so this is where everything broke basically. So on paper, everything looked great. So I had my corporate job, which I'd worked hard for. You know, I had a good salary coming in from that. I had savings. You know, we could go away for weekends if we wanted to. You know, we had that flexibility. I didn't have financial freedom at all at that point. But you know, we had enough money to do the things that we wanted to do, basically. So it's a nice life, nice lifestyle, or nice opportunities available. I was engaged to get married that year to somebody that I thought at the time was my soulmate. Obviously, excuse me, I realise now that that wasn't the case. But you know, at that time, I truly felt that was the way we were going. And we also had, you know, our house. So I had all the kind of stability that I wanted, but inside, oh my word, I was just broken. And I can't stress that enough. You know, I just felt like I was going mad. I really did. So the main sort of symptom, I guess, was insomnia. So at that point, I had probably been getting 4 or so hours of sleep a night for probably about 2 years. And it was slowly sending me mad. I felt desperately unhappy, but I didn't feel that I was allowed to, almost, because I had a wonderful partner, I had my job. So why was I feeling so desperately unhappy and unfulfilled? You know, I had everything that I thought I wanted. So what was going on? There was anger coming up at that time, which when I talk through my story, my experiences, that will become a bit clearer. But what I was then doing, the anger would then lead on to guilt, would lead on to beating myself up. Instead of ever being kind to myself, I would constantly be beating myself up. Why am I getting so angry with my ex-fiance? You know, why am I behaving like this? Why am I doing this? Rah, rah, rah. Constant beating myself up. I can't actually remember a time when I actually used to be kind to myself with words back in those days. I was absolutely numbing with drinking, so I was drinking way too much. And part of that was sometimes to sleep. So ironically, I would sleep better if I was drunk, you know, not even just had a glass or two of wine, drunk. Cat's behind the guinea pig, sorry, slight distraction. I would also numb as well with food. So I didn't have an eating disorder as much, but I was definitely in the massive dieting to massive binging. So, you know, yo-yo weight, but again, not being kind to myself, you know, not feeding my body the stuff that it needed and then expecting it to cope. You know, and all the time doing this. Well, why can't I do this? Why can't I be like everybody else? Why can't I just be happy? What is wrong with me? So, you know, that was a very negative spiral that I just ended up going down. That then led me to burnout, basically. So I ended up leaving leaving the house, leaving my fiance, and that was possibly one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. But I absolutely knew deep down somewhere that I had to do it, and I had to do it so that I could get out and I could start to heal, because I kind of knew that that was, that was the space that I was in, and I desperately needed to do that for myself, because I wasn't really sure, if I'm honest, what the next stage was. I knew that I was at kind of rock bottom. I remember distinctly feeling like I was treading water and the water was up to here, and I just had to keep going. So it was like treading water, thinking, come on, just keep going, get through the day, keep going, keep going, keep going. This isn't all doom and gloom. This is, we will get to the good stuff at the end. But I cannot tell you how grateful I am that I completely broke back in those days, because, it was, the only way was up. And it was the turning point, and it was the, I had tried to find things to help myself all the way through, and I had always thought there has to be an answer, but I can't quite find it. And it, I did that for a good space of time, probably over that 2 years, constantly trying different things for insomnia, but because I didn't know how the mind worked at that point, I had no idea that, I don't know, sleeping tablets maybe, or lavender essential oil bath, or rescue remedy, or whatever, wasn't going to work for me, because these things were so hardwired into my subconscious. I'm not poo-pooing any of those things, by the way. They just weren't right for me, because this trauma was hardwired into my subconscious, and it needed to be released in the right way. So other things I tried were counselling and medication, and again, everybody was just so lovely to me, so never ever poo-pooing those. There's no complaints on any of those. But now that I understand again how the mind works, I can understand why those things didn't help me at the time. So I wrote a post yesterday about how positive thinking won't work. So what I mean by that is, if you have hardwired limiting beliefs sitting in that subconscious, just talking, thinking about positive things, those sorts of things will help at some point, but you need to be able to release that memory, that suppressed emotion, to be able to get to that point. So if you've tried any of these things, I can't stress enough, please don't give up. Do not give up, because I wasn't ever at that give up stage, but I was damn close sometimes. But please don't, because help is out there. Okay, you just need to find the right help, the right therapy for yourself. And if you have, if you know that you've experienced, big things, trauma, though, I mean, it doesn't even need to be big things, but if you know that you feel stuck and you can't sort of get to grips with it, then give me a shout, and we can talk through how hypnotherapy can help for you, or would be able to help you. So here we go. The main reason, not the only reason, but the main reason I had kind of created all these symptoms is because I experienced sexual abuse as a child. Age 7 or 8, and I can't be sort of specific about, I can't entirely remember my age, but if you have seen previous lives of mine, or listened to any of my videos on my YouTube channel, you will know that what happens if we experience anything, good or bad, the subconscious will store that event as a memory, so that it's got that to access at any time it needs to. So it's like, it's how we know how to sit in a chair or open the door, those sorts of things. We just automatically know, because we've stored that memory in our subconscious. what happens if we experience something stressful, traumatic, lightning strikes in some way, then we will also lock in that emotion that we feel at the same time as well. So in my subconscious, I had locked in with that memory, you know, the terror, the fear, the powerlessness in that experience. And this is essentially what had then caused so many issues for me growing up. What also happens, and this is another key point, is that it gets locked in at that age. And you then can't, unless you actually work with that and process it, you then, that memory, that emotion, then can't grow up with you as you know, grow up through as you get older. So this again, and I'll talk through kind of how that came out in a minute, but this is what caused so many issues as well. And I remember very clearly thinking, why can't I be a grown-up? You know, why can't I do this thing that everybody else does at the age of, I don't know, 29 or so, you know? I didn't understand. I didn't understand how the mind worked, so I wasn't ever going to understand, you know, what was happening for me there. So I think as well, because I didn't tell anybody about it for quite some years afterwards, I kind of made that terror, made that abuse memory almost worse. I'm not blaming myself in any way, but it almost kind of compounded that terror, because I felt powerless, but I was also on my own because nobody knew about it, you know. And I was definitely in a place of being hypervigilant. So when people experience trauma, the fight-flight response can often not normalise itself. So you will quite often not be able to get back to that, you know, that calm, that put the brakes on, oh, everything's okay. You quite often can't get back to that baseline. So this is why, you know, abuse victims, survivors, whatever the right word is for you, I'm a bit careful with using victims and survivors because I don't know what works for people, but, you know, take that as the right way for you. They can often find that they can't get back out of that fight-flight very easily, so they're often in a space of hypervigilance. And I remember that as well, you know, walking down the road maybe when I was about 12 or 13 with my mum. We lived in the middle of nowhere, which was beautiful, in Norfolk by the Broads, but we were walking through a city, and I remember a car going past and there was a lot of noise coming from the car, and I remember freezing. You know, I was with my mum, so I had my mum right next to me, but I remember freezing and thinking, oh my God. Because, you know, it's activating that memory, that terror again, and it's your subconscious is perceiving that as a threat, rightly or wrongly, because it's there to protect you. Your subconscious main job is to protect you. So, you know, I just went into that freeze response. So, okay, leave that there. Let's fast forward again to university years. So I was doing my master's, and this kind of makes me smile now because I don't know how on earth I got through it, in all honesty, in a good way, because I did. But I used to live in a flat with another girl who the flat was lovely, the area was really safe, but she used to go away sort of every now and then. So I was in a position where I had to stay in a house on my own. Now remember, those emotions are locked in, terror, fear, powerlessness, are locked in at that age 7. So that's like, as I now understand it, expecting a 7-year-old to be able to sleep in a house on their own and feel safe. My little boy's at the door, hello. So it's like expecting a 7-year-old to feel safe in a house on their own, whilst also then you know, an adult saying to them, well, why can't you do this? Why are you not good enough? You know, heavily criticising myself. And this is where the kind of extreme insomnia, not at the moment, darling, please. That's where the extreme insomnia came in then, because when my friend was away, it's almost like I needed a babysitter. You know, I couldn't sleep because I was absolutely terrified trying to sleep in a house on my own. And that is because that incident, the abuse incident, happened, or part of the reason is because it happened in my own bedroom in my house at the time. You know, my bedroom was not my safe place, which kids, you know, hopefully generally grow up knowing that is their safe space. So actually, for me, trying to sleep in a house on my own was just terrifying. So, and the reason I sort of chuckle about it is because I just, you know, it seems so kind of so extreme now, but equally so obvious, but I couldn't see it at the time. So I would not be able to go to sleep till 5 o'clock in the morning until it started to get light, because my subconscious then related it being light to it being safe. So I would then go to sleep. I'd go and sleep for a couple of hours and then get up and go into uni. So I don't know how I don't know how that masters happened, but thankfully it did. So that's when the really sort of hard insomnia kind of started, and that's when I started to also get worried about insomnia, which, as we know, that anxiety around insomnia will make it worse potentially as well. Okay, so then we had the impact on relationships and the kind of relationships I would get into. So a lot of abuse victims will feel, I keep using the word victims, I'm not sure that's right. A lot of people who experience abuse will often feel not good enough, not worthy, not deserving, because there's that kind of underlying guilt of it was my fault in some way, or shame or something. But this not deserving often meant I attracted people that maybe weren't as kind as I should have been with. Sorry, I've lost my train of thought there. But also, it made me push the good ones away. Okay, so if you're experiencing any of those kind of patterns coming up as well, give me a shout, because there could be some limiting beliefs around I'm not good enough there going on for you. So yeah, we've got the relationship bit. Go forward another, I don't know, 3 or 4 years maybe. Yeah, probably about 4 years, and we get into, so I'd started work by this point, and had an amazing workplace, amazing friends. We definitely had the work hard, play hard kind of culture, which, you know, we had a ball. It was great. I had some amazing friends at that time, but then it turned into, when I then went to live on my own slightly later, it then turned into, again, living on my own, cue the, you know, terror getting reactivated at a subconscious level. It then turned into where I was starting to drink a little bit too much on my own, and it was almost, I kind of framed it as but I want to just feel free, I just want to have fun, and, you know, I want to be the person I want to feel like, you know, I'm supposed to be, and this kind of wild, free, crazy, I wanted to be that person, but actually, you know, it was being run by these subconscious kind of need to numb the emotion, numb the fear of having to sleep on my own. Obviously sleep got worse again then, because I essentially needed somebody to babysit me almost, you know, because I hadn't been able to process that stuff out. So we get to the burnout point in 2006, and that is when or leading up to that bit, that was when a lot of anger was coming out in me, which then layered on the guilt, layered on the beating myself up. But a huge amount of anger. And again, I couldn't understand it, because it's like, how dare I be so angry? I've got this amazing life, this amazing partner. Where is this coming from? Why is this me? Why can't I be a nicer person, a better person, a good girl? You know, all this stuff. A positive person. Why did everything have to be so negative and pessimistic? But I now understand, again, that anger is a completely understandable emotion if you've been in that place of powerlessness. So, you know, a lot of, I was going to say adults, but I guess kids as well, will play at that kind of anger to get control, to try and, you know, get control of the situation. And that is from a place of, you know, not having it. So again, it was, you know, valid emotion that was coming up. I just needed to work with it in the right way. So thankfully, I kind of fell into hypnotherapy as a client myself then, so 14 years ago. As I say, I tried counselling, I tried medication, never poo-pooing those, but they did not get to the root cause, and I needed to get to the root cause to get out of this blinking circle and just going round and just being so damn miserable. You know, I was just, yeah, it was the broken world. It was not good. So I actually went to see 2 hypnotherapists before I worked with the main chap that helped me so much, Edward. What I will say actually at this point is it's really key to get the rapport right with your chosen any therapist, but hypnotherapist particularly, okay, which is why I went to a couple of people until I found the right one. I only had a couple of appointments with them, but until I found the right one. So make sure that you really, you know, you can really you've really got that rapport, and you feel safe. You know, you're going to be working through some stuff that potentially that isn't, you know, that's going to be relatively hard, but that is the beauty of it. You know, we if we want to grow, we have to be prepared to be in that discomfort to actually be able to come out the other side and feel fulfilled, be able to go after those big dreams that we have, you know, to feel happy, to have this inner peace. Like, I cannot tell you how amazingly different my world is now, and how much fulfillment I feel. So just that inner peace. You know, we all have days where things go a bit wonky, but it's not my you know, every day is just happy, harmonious, fulfilled. You know, I'm doing the job that I just adore. You know, I've got my wonderful son who's almost 9. You know, honestly, it couldn't be better. So going from 14 years ago to this, I am so glad I went through that discomfort and that growth, and it, you know, I'm still growing every day now. That's always part of it. So my first hypnotherapy session, so I went in there saying, right, my main issue is insomnia, still not understanding that related back to the sexual abuse. So I went in saying, you know, I just can't sleep. Bearing in mind as well, I'm then living on my own again. So I was like, right, I can't sleep. I am scared when I go to bed. I can't sort of lie there and think about clouds because, you know, or something nice, happy memories, because the terror, the anxiety takes over. What was I going to say then? And he sort of said to me, has anything big happened in your life? You know, any trauma, that sort of thing. So I said, well, yeah, this thing happened, you know, this sexual abuse happened when I was 7 or 8, but, you know, I think I've dealt with that. So I consciously felt like I'd dealt with it. So I felt like I'd talked it through with friends. I'd kind of put it in that box, put it on the shelf, and that was kind of done. So consciously, that was done. Subconsciously, there was a whole world of stuff going on. So I remember saying all this, and you know, I'm sure he thought straight away, I'm sure this is where we're going to go to. But I said, well, you know, this is what's happened. I'm all right with it. I just got this insomnia now, so can we work with that? So the absolute beauty of hypnotherapy and the subconscious mind is the subconscious mind will take you to exactly the point it knows it needs to work with to release what's going on for you. So I remember starting my hypnotherapy session and we went straight back to that memory. So straight away we were back in there. Now that might sound a bit daunting in itself, but don't let that put you off, because actually the whole experience of that is so empowering. But also we can, as a hypnotherapist, we can, you know, if you felt like you were feeling unsafe again in that situation, then we can put other support in there as well. So you know, don't worry about, or we can do it with different techniques as well. So don't worry about, you know, you're not going to be taken back in to relive that memory, but you do need to be able to work with it to process it out. So I remember going straight back into that memory. But I had, I believe, adult me, and I perhaps had somebody else that I'd chosen to come into that memory with me as well. So I had support in that session, in that like memory, that visualization. And I remember very clearly just feeling like somebody was dragging all the emotion up from the bottom of my legs all the way up through my body. And it was just so powerful, and I just sobbed for an hour, or the best part of an hour for that session. I just sobbed, you know, tears dripping, my nose dripping. I didn't dare move because I wasn't sure I could do. You know, so I didn't interrupt the hypnotic trance, and it was just the most amazing experience, because I came out of there after one session feeling incredible, feeling like it was hard, but it was good hard. It was good discomfort, because it was growth. It was what I was supposed to be doing. Well, I can almost feel that relief now. It's almost making me a bit teary, like thinking about that, funnily enough, because it was so powerful. And this is what I kind of want to get across to people, is because I don't, you know, I would hate people to carry on living the life that I was living, with all those emotions, all those feelings, all those behaviours, beating myself up. I'd hate you to be stuck in that because of, you know, a fear of the therapy itself, or that it might be painful. Honestly, it was just phenomenal. It was an emotional session, but it was just a phenomenal session. And then with that, so you release a load of emotion, and I swear to you, I could feel it coming out of my body. You know, they say that the body holds on to trauma, and I fully believe that. And if we don't get that out, that is what's going to make us ill, as we carry on throughout our lives as well. So that was my first experience, and we carried on having some sessions then as well. And I did have a fair few sessions, and this is why I have created kind of the VIP level of my program, so that one-to-one level of my program, where we do really bespoke intensive work for you. So there are a number of sessions, one-to-one sessions directly with me rather than in a group setting, for example. So we can really go in and deep dive into those beliefs, those emotions that are that are suppressed, that are running for you. So if this resonates with anybody, please, please, please get in touch. I will put a link to my discovery call. I'll put a link to the program as well in the comments below. But if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like you're just surviving, you're just existing, you're struggling to get through the day, you're numbing, you're not sleeping, you're terrified, you may have relationship patterns that are not working out for you. You might be going through some relationship pain. Whatever it may be, give me a shout and we can work out if my program is right for you, and whether that is something that would help you right now, to move on from that surviving absolutely to thriving. So living that life that you deserve to live, that is out there for you. I fully believe that, that's how I felt. I fully believed that my big dreams, that world of happiness, living, feeling harmonious, was out there for me, and I was right. This is what I have now. What I found with my hypnotherapy journey was that as soon as my subconscious knew help was there, some other stuff would bubble up, and that's something that's key with the subconscious as well, is that it knows when you're ready to work with stuff. Just, if you're feeling that urge, even if you're a bit nervous, that fear is completely normal. So if you are feeling a bit nervous, still give me a call. This is all about working out for you where you are now, where you want to be, and me sort of telling you what I can feel is happening for you, and actually how we can bridge that gap. Okay. So don't let that nervousness put you off. Like, fully embrace that and come and have a chat with me. Okay, so if any of that resonates with you, obviously give me a call. And also look on my website. I'll put a link to the Surviving to Thriving program on my website in the comments shortly. What was I going to say? Just thinking about limiting beliefs, just quickly, we have 4 main limiting beliefs in life. So we have I'm not good enough, the world isn't a safe place, I'm powerless, and love and relationships equals pain. So if any of that is resonating in any way for you, there could be kind of imposter syndrome, there could be mum guilt going on, there could be a lot of beating yourself up, there could be toxic relationships, whether that's partners, friends, parents, family even. I'm not safe. I'm not safe is an interesting one. So that can represent itself in a lot of ways. For me, a lot of the time it was insomnia. I think there was a big bit about, I used to bite my nails super badly. I think there was a bit of that. So if I make myself, the thinking behind that, if I make myself unattractive, people won't then want to, attack me or whatever. Powerlessness, feeling powerless. That's a fairly obvious one. That what can come from that is anger. As I said, that's what came up for me. But also, all sorts of feelings and thoughts will be linked to these limiting beliefs. And then love and relationships equals pain or pleasure. So where we're almost programmed to, even if we, had a relationship with somebody who was uber lovely, super nice, super caring, it might be that we subconsciously think they're going to leave us. It might cause us pain in some way. We sabotage that good relationship. It may be that we think we're not worthy for it. There's so many spin-offs to these limiting beliefs. And if you feel any of these things, please, please, please get in touch. Because, hypnotherapy is just such a wonderfully powerful, transformational therapy that can release these limiting beliefs, right? And we are going to keep going around in circles unless we can find a way to release these limiting beliefs. So whether it's for, healing or manifesting your big dreams, whatever it is, if we do not unlock these limiting beliefs, we're just going to keep going around in circles. Okay, that's not right. You know, it's not. We shouldn't have to live that life. It's not fair. You know, it's not fair for you. You deserve so much better, and I know that you know that as well. Okay, which is why you're watching this. So, high achieving ladies, if you're feeling stuck, you're in survival mode, you're going around in circles, you've tried things but you haven't got anywhere, you're frustrated, you're maybe on the point of burnout, give me a shout. Okay, and you know, we can just have a chat through the program. We'll talk a lot about your stuff, what I can see is happening for you, and we'll put together that, you know, what I can see is, or what I can see, what I can feel is happening for you. Obviously we won't know specifically until we go into a hypnotherapy session, but I can obviously kind of get a feel for what's happening for you. We'll see where you are, and then we'll see where you want to be, and actually how we can put those stages together for you so that we can get you to those big dreams, that life of happiness, fulfillment that you completely deserve. Okay, any questions, of course, just put them in the comments, or if you'd rather privately send them to me, of course do, private message, and by all means book a discovery call with me and we can have a chat in the week. And now that the wonderful sunshine is back, I'm going to go and enjoy that. So have a wonderful weekend, and thank you so much for listening, and I will speak to you again next week. Take care, lovely people. Thank you so much. Bye bye.